The depths can be pretty creepy. You never know what's hiding in the shadows. It could be a gloom-covered frost talus, a Stalnox, an armored Lynel, or it could be a Frox. If you've spent any time in the depths, you've probably come across a Frox. And if you're like me, noped right out of there as fast as you could. They are big and nasty looking. Something you might save to fight later when you got better weapons and armor. But don't let their nasty looks fool you. They are a lot easier to defeat than you think. And as with all enemies in the game, knowing their patterns, behaviors, and weaknesses will make this fight simple. So in this video, we're going to go over how to defeat these monsters. I'll show you their weak points, their attacks, and what weapons and items you'll need to fight them. And I'll go over some of my favorite loadouts too. Now, there are 3 types of Frox in Tears of the Kingdom. Well, technically 4 if you count the little ones, but 3 big ones. The common Frox, which has 700 health points, the Obsidian Frox, which has 1350, and the blue-white Frox, which has 2100. Frox are pretty much everywhere in the depths. There are 40 of them in total, 12 common Frox, 15 Obsidian, and 13 blue-white, and they are at set locations. Finding them can be tricky at first, but once you know what to look for, they stand out. And this assumes you've found the nearest light route to illuminate the area. I definitely wouldn't recommend fighting them in pitch black. Frox live in large, flat, open areas with these tall, feather-like trees around it. There's also a small rock pile at one end with a few zonite deposits, and these make spotting their area much easier. Some areas of the depths have more Frox than others. For example, the Gerudo Desert area has quite a few, while areas without flat surfaces, like under Death Mountain, have less. A Frox has 3 weak points. First is their eye. Hitting them in the eye with an arrow stuns them for a moment. Opening up their second weak point, the zonite deposits on their back, which is the main way to damage them. The third weak point is their mouth. Shooting an arrow fused with a time bomb or a bomb flower into their mouth will also stun them. The zonite deposits on their back are just like any other mineral deposit, except tougher to break, as this is where the health of the Frox is stored, so to speak. And each Frox has 5 of these deposits on its back, and their total health is essentially divided between these 5 deposits. All 3 types of Frox have the same attack behavior. When you're first spotted, they'll either jump towards you and smash you, or use their huge mouth to suck you in, and this depends on how far away you are. When you damage them, they'll flip you into the air with their tail and wait with their mouth open. If you're up close, they'll stomp you with one of their legs, and when at medium range, they'll charge at you. Also, they can jump really high, and I nearly fell off the couch the first time I saw this. As you can see from these attacks, the best strategy will be to fight it from the air as much as possible. We want to avoid all of its ground attacks. Alright, let's get into the details. For this video, I've chosen a few weapons you'll be able to find easily. And since you're in the depths, you have access to pristine weapons at the soldiers' statues. If you're not familiar with these statues, check out my video on pristine weapons that goes over in detail everything to get you started. I like using a 2-handed sword to break the deposits on the Frox's back. And there are several decayed 2-handed swords that can work, a Gerudo or Royal Claymore for example. But the issue with decayed swords is their durability. They might not last long enough to break all the deposits. So if you're going to use a decayed sword, get a couple, so you have a backup if one breaks. I would suggest finding at least a pristine soldier's claymore, and these can be found everywhere in the depths. Some better options would be pristine knights, royal or Gerudo claymores. Again, if you need help finding these, please check out my pristine weapons video. Now you don't need to use a claymore. There are one-handed swords and spears that can be just as effective, and I'll go over some of these options in a minute. The soldier's claymore alone is pretty weak, so we need to fuse it with something decent to give it more damage. Go to your inventory, press Y to sort by fuse attack power, and see what options you've got. Silver and white Lynel horns are the best, but not mandatory. Really anything above a silver bokoblin horn will work. For this example, I'll be using a pristine soldier's claymore with a +6 attack up mod fused with a silver Lizalfos horn. And I'll wear just the basic archaic armor and use a 3 attack up meal, which gives a 1.5 times multiplier to overall damage. Altogether, this deals 88 damage per hit. For a bow, we just need a decent one. And we're only going to be using the bow to shoot the Frox in the eye and to launch bombs at it, so just get a couple decent ones. And I'll be using a royal bow for these examples. We're also going to want keys or arrow-kuda eyes to fuse to our arrows, and these cause the arrow to track to the eye. Now they're not essential, you can just shoot it with an arrow, but having them makes a critical shot much easier, so be sure to have some available if you want that extra aim help. Now we don't need a shield for blocking or parrying or anything like that, but a rocket shield can come in handy. We can use them to escape its charge or jump slam, or to get bullet time when shooting arrows at its eye. And you can easily find rockets in the depths at many of these device locations. Just fuse one to a shield and you're good. And make a few of these ahead of time so you got backups if needed. Another thing we'll need are bomb flowers and or time bombs. When you're in the air and the Frox opens its mouth, you can attach one to an arrow and shoot it right into its mouth. The Frox will start chewing on it, and when it explodes, the Frox is stunned, so you can start damage again. There are a few different meals you can prepare for the fight. First is a 3 attack up meal. Cooking 5 of these items together, or 4 items in a dragon horn for more time, are great if you don't have armor with the attack up bonus, like the Barbarian set, the Fierce Deity set, or several others. And this bonus multiplies your overall damage by 1.5, so it's definitely worth it. There's a lot of gloom in the depths, and a gloom recovery meal may be helpful. Cooking Sundelions into a meal will fix your hearts affected by gloom. A heart recovery meal is also helpful, and this can be anything from a few hearts to full recovery to adding additional hearts. And finally, for sages, I'll activate Tulin in case I need his help to reposition while I'm in the air. Alright, now we're ready to fight a Frox. When you find a Frox, keep some distance so you're not spotted. Then ID the Frox with your camera just to be sure. If it just says Frox, that's the weakest of the 3, so a good one to start with. As always, make a save file so you can reload and restart the fight if needed. If you have an attack up meal, go ahead and eat it now. We want to approach the Frox in a way that gets us as close as possible without alerting it. Use the surroundings as cover, and don't sprint, just walk. When we're in position, alert the Frox by shooting it with an arrow, or sprinting near it, or just by letting it see you. When the title comes up and the music plays, we'll start the attack. Fire a Keese arrow at its eye to stun it. When it lies down, run up onto its back and start breaking a deposit. Keep breaking them until you see it start to shudder. Then it will flip you up in the air, so pull out your paraglider and just hang there for a moment. When it opens its mouth, fuse a time bomb or a bomb flower to an arrow and shoot it right in there. When it's stunned, get on its back and damage another deposit. Now watch for the shudder, and when it flips you up, hang in the air for a moment, then shoot another bomb into its mouth. And this is the cycle. Just keep doing this until all the deposits are broken and the Frox is defeated. Not too bad, right? And this strategy also works for the Obsidian and blue-white Frox. The fight will take longer because they have more health, but the idea is exactly the same. The Obsidian Frox has just about double the health as the regular Frox, 1350 instead of 700. So the same weapons will be effective, it'll just take a bit longer. The blue-white Frox has triple the health at 2100. If you use the same soldier's claymore, it's probably going to break during the fight, so bring a backup or two. Or we can go with a higher damage weapon. Now if you want to deal more damage, pristine weapons are the way to go. And I'll use the same Silver Lizalfos horn as a fuse item for these. If you fuse a higher attack item, they'll do even more damage. Also, these numbers assume you're wearing 3 attack up armor or have a 3 attack up meal active. It's extra damage, so there's no reason not to. A pristine Knight's Claymore, fused with the Silver Lizalfos horn, deals 91 damage. A pristine Royal Claymore deals 106 damage. A pristine Gerudo Claymore deals 140 damage. The Master Sword is also a good choice when fused with a high attack item. For late game players, there are some very powerful options. The Boulder Breaker, fused with a rare Stone Talus Heart, deals 166 damage. The Scimitar of the Seven, fused with a Silver Lionel Saberhorn, deals 207 damage. A pristine Gerudo Claymore with a +10 attack up mod fused with a silver Lionel Saberhorn deals 225 damage. And all of these will break the Obsidian or blue-white Frox deposits in 2 hits, and the regular Frox deposits in 1 hit. Now these are just a few of the options I've used. There are, of course, a ton of powerful weapon fused combos, so try some out, see what works for you. Now my favorite loadout for any Frox uses the Bone Weapon Proficiency perk and a Zora weapon. Bone Weapon Proficiency comes on 2 armor sets, the Radiant set and the Evil Spirit set. Unfortunately there's no meal or elixir you can use, it's only the armor that gives you the perk. Now in this clip I'm using a pristine Zora Spear with a +10 attack up mod fused with a Molduga Jawbone, plus a 3 attack up meal since I don't get it on the armor. Zora weapons double their damage when wet. And this is easy to do by either throwing a splash fruit at your feet or by using Sidon's water bubble before damaging the deposits. Altogether the Zora Spear does 270 damage, which will break an Obsidian Frox deposit with 1 hit, and a blue-white deposit with 2 hits. A pristine Zora Sword with the same setup will do 364 damage. And a pristine Zora Longsword will do 420 damage, breaking a blue-white Frox deposit in 1 hit. This loadout is very specific, but it's super effective and one I use all the time. And it's also a great setup for fighting Gleeoks. Now there are, of course, other ways to fight a Frox. I like using a rocket shield to get up in the air for the initial attack. Using bullet time to shoot its eye makes it a bit easier to hit. Or use Mineru to approach it and jump off to get bullet time as well. If you can get high enough above the Frox with a multi-shot bow, especially a 5-shot Lionel bow, you can just hang in the air and shoot its back with bomb flowers and defeat it. And again, just a few options to give you some ideas. Lastly, there is a Frox Medal for killing all 40 of them. Just talk to Graylins in the shelter at Lookout Landing and he'll give you the quest. So, not too bad, right? They definitely look a lot tougher than they are. As I mentioned a few times, pristine weapons make this fight a lot easier. So check out my pristine weapons video if it interests you. I go through the whole process of finding them and getting the modifiers you want. Also, I know it's been a little while since my last Zelda video, and I really appreciate your patience. I've had a lot going on these last few months. I've been recording a new album with my band, along with other video work at my day job and some personal projects. I've just been super busy. But I've got several more Zelda videos on deck for you. So as always, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. See you very soon.